Okay, we're live. So, I'm Natalie Fischer, and I'm an agent and office assistant at the Sandra Dexter Literary Agency. I represent young adult romance. I'm really looking for romance right now. I get a lot of YA queries. I have a lot of YA authors, although there's definitely room for awesome in my YA pile, and picture books. I only have 2 picture book clients at this point. I love historical. I like multicultural. I don't do thrillers, and if your manuscript is anything like Sarah Dessen, send it to my colleague Taylor Martindale. Oh, I see. Well, children's historical is different than a historical novel. It may depend on if you see that they're interested in mystery and children's, it's worth querying them, I think. But you know, I mean, it all depends on the agent, so sorry. What am I hoping to find? I'm hoping to find... Oh, okay, cool. What are the types of novels I'm interested in hoping in the near future? And really hoping to find some adult romance. That is not really relevant to this conference. Other than that, I really have no idea what I'm going to find. Witches, maybe? Dragons, maybe? I'm leaning towards really fantastic tastes right now. Do I feel there's room in the tough market for books that are quiet? Not really. I think if it's quiet, it has to have incredible writing, more literary. But if it's just quiet, then it's not really going to make a bang with anybody. With picture books, I usually like rhyme, and I really am interested in quirky picture books with strong story arcs and well-developed characters. That's the series question. You know, I think you shouldn't worry about it. If your book's going to be a series, it's going to be a series. There's nothing you can do about it. Just keep writing it, and yes, there are editors and agents still interested in series, but you don't write it just because you want a series. If it happens in a series, it will be. Apart from what I like to see on blogs and websites and contact information, I like to get a sense of the person's personality. Hopefully you have some blog posts that are fun to read. I also like to see a brief paragraph of your hottest work in progress. My take on upper middle grade. Upper middle grade is kind of close to lower YA, but I tend to prefer upper middle grade. It's sort of an in-between area. I would just call it middle grade, honestly, when pitching it. Because in the bookstore, they're coming fast. How much does prior publication help form your opinion when you read a query? Prior publication helps if it's an established publisher, like the big publisher, but then at that point I'm wondering why you don't have an agent. Did your book not do well? Because if your book didn't do well, it might be tough to sell the next one. But honestly, previous publication... Obviously, the previous publication is not going to determine whether I represent someone or not. It's all going to be determined by the writing and whether or not I fall in love with it. Paranormal romance still going to... who knows? Honestly, I can't predict where the market's going to go. I'm still seeing a lot of paranormal romance sales, but they're So obviously they're going to be still coming out in a year or two, but there are certain types of paranormals that are getting really flooded, like vampires, werewolves, that sort of thing, that I think are going to start tapering out. At least I myself know that I hate seeing vampire queries, so who knows. Picture book series. That's a tough one. Why does everyone want to know about series? I think if it's a nonfiction, yes, you could definitely have a series. There are many successful nonfiction picture book series, but most, and you know, there are obviously a lot of successful picture book series like Fancy Nancy, like things that, and I'd love to find one of those, but it depends on what kind of picture book it is and whether it lends itself to a series or not. Is tongue-in-cheek fantasy, dark fantasy, or contemporary fantasy more interesting to you? Well, I'll tell you, I really like Dark and Twisted. Law and Order SVU was one of my favorite shows for a while, so, but that's, you know, so, tongue-in-cheek can I say all three? You can say in your query that it's your debut novel, but honestly, I'm just going to assume that unless you mention a previous publication anyway. So, just, it really doesn't matter. Let's see, the easiest jumping point for young adult and middle grade, the definition between the two is usually age. You can say middle grade, the character is 12 and between, you know, 10, 12, 9, 10, 11, 12, and yet YA is older. However, usually the voice is really the ultimate determinant. It's also, middle grade tends to focus more on internal struggles and developments, and YA has more of a plot. It's focused more on the outside events happening to the character rather than the internal things happening to the character, like as in middle grade. Just think of middle grade like angst. I know everybody hates that. Oh, there's so many angst books out there, but that's kind of what middle grade is known for. No. If one agent rejects a query letter, is it wise to assume that all agents at the agency reject it? Yes and no. This reminds me of that Mythbusters vlog. Sorta. Let's see. If some some agencies will specifically tell you if you're rejected by one, it doesn't mean you're rejected by all. However, if they do not specifically tell you that, then yes, it does mean that you're rejected by all, especially in an agency like ours where we share query letters. If I'm not passing it on to my colleague, it means that I don't think it's right for any of us. No, it's always good to tell an agent. It's always good to tell an agent where you found them, and it's never bad to say you found them on Agent Query. And no, my boyfriend is not sawing. I think the outside people are sawing. Babe, could you close the window, please? Is that better? He's microwaving, though.
That's fun.
God damn it, I should go yell at them for interrupting my session. Kids saving the world. I mean, I always like to hear about kids saving the world. You know, asking about genres waning and things like that is always kind of tough to answer because The minute that I say I'm not interested in this thing, I'll find one that I fall head over heels for. So I think that if it's good enough, you will find an agent for it. My views on Twitter etiquette. Please don't query me on Twitter. I love interacting with people on Twitter. I love when people talk to me, talk back to me. I've said several times, what are you doing?
I didn't do anything.
Stop it!
I'm a kid.
Turn it off!
It'll go away. I promise.
The things that go wrong. Anyway, please don't.
Sorry.
Please don't. Oh God, now I forgot what I was going to say. Whatever. Twitter etiquette. Twitter etiquette. I mean, just think about you're talking to a professional. Oh, I'm glad I'm amusing you. You just hide behind my kitty mug. Are agents or editors put off by manuscripts written in unconventional or unusual formats? Yes, such as letters written in manuscripts written as letters with characters, but a different humorous plot on each. Yes, personally, I think it's a really tough sell to sell these multimedia type of manuscripts because it's really hard to connect to them. You have to have a really good reason for including these different types of media in your manuscript. Personally, I love connecting to characters, and when I've just got a bunch of letters that are the characters, or I mean, especially when people start out their query letters with a letter, or not queries, when they start out their manuscripts with a letter, I skip it. I hate reading letters. So, yes. Yes, I do commonly ask for revisions before offering representation, unless I do know that there's another agent interested. At that point, if I like it enough, I will go ahead and offer. But the reason that I usually ask for revision before offering representation is because I like to see how the author and I are going to work together, because I am more hands-on, and if they don't like my type of feedback or my notes, it's not a good fit, and I'd like to know that going in. I'm not as tired of angel urban fantasies as I'm as tired of vampires, for sure, but I do currently have a client with an angel urban fantasy, so it would be really tough for me to take on another one. Online presence isn't extremely important for clients when I'm submitting. The biggest thing an online presence is going to help you with is when you do get a deal, you do get a contract, and your book's coming out. That's all these audience that you're going to be able to reach out to. You're going to need to promote online, and online marketing is huge right now because you can do contests, you can do blogging, you can do interviews, you can have your book cover be your profile picture. Like, look at all the things that Mandy Hubbard is doing on Twitter. But telling an editor that you have a blog isn't going to make them love your writing or your manuscript any more or less. So, although we did have an instance. We did have an instant once where we had an offer on the table for an author with a publisher. The publisher saw the author speak at a panel and was so unimpressed by what they saw, they took the offer off the table. So that's a story of caution. So I always try and be as professional as possible. I have no idea what happened at this panel, but, you know, just word of the wise. What are my 3 biggest turnoffs when it comes to a query letter? Let's see. Bad grammar. Yeah, Katrina. Katrina gave me this. It says happy birthday. Okay, 3 biggest turnoffs when it comes to a query letter. I would say bad grammar, addressing it to someone other than me, and something that I don't even represent.